Anne Marie Christell, how's it going?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
super excited to be here.
yeah, so we met just from the Facebook group where we talk about different guests and how to come on. And one of the things that you
Mhm.
mentioned on your post that really interested me was social media. So can you tell us a little bit about your experience with social media?
I've been an entrepreneur for over 26 years. I started as a hairstylist, and I've also have had an e-commerce store, and I'm now a coach for hairstylists to help them grow their business. And part
Mhm.
of that is using social media to attract people into your world. And I have a love-hate relationship to social media
Mhm.
because one hand, it's an amazing tool. On the other hand, it can be super stressful. It can consume a lot of your time if you're not aware of what you're actually doing when you're there. So that is why I talk so much about, first of all, like our mental health connected to social media and how we are
Mhm.
consuming and how we are using it.
Yeah.
And also having our own boundaries around uh, what time am I spending there? How much of myself am I actually showing off?
Mhm.
Because we are opening up ourselves if we're creating a personal brand um, as a hairstylist or whatever business you're in. If you're a small company, you're probably building something up around yourself.
Mhm.
And what happens the day when you get hate or when someone doesn't like what you say or someone thinks you're stupid or you wake up to like 1,000 hate comments, because
Mhm.
that has actually happened to me, where your full scroll is just hate, 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 hate. So
Yeah.
uh, I talk about how to use it as a tool and how to shield ourselves
Mhm.
um, in order for us to use this tool and not have it consume our total life.
Yeah, that is really cool. Really important, I think, especially in the industry that I'm in now. So when social media came out, we got the Facebook, got the Instagram, and then stopped using Facebook just because I don't know, I had this weird feeling around it being an older millennial, right? And then seeing this new thing as, oh, sharing my world, and then I seeing a lot of people arguing about sports and politics. So it really turned me off to social media. And then Instagram comes along and there's like short little clips of videos. And so you're just sitting there scrolling to a point where
Yeah,
I had to put a timer on my phone. So it would say, you spent too much time on here, stop
yeah,
scrolling.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, but now that I'm in an industry where you have to put yourself out there, making that transition is really challenging. So, I mean, how were you using social media before? I mean, were you always using it as a marketing tool?
I've always used it as a marketing tool because I've been in business for over 26 years. And I um, I had a website already like
Hmm.
1998.
Yeah.
That's early days,
Right. Yeah.
super, super early,
Hmm.
because at the time I was dating a web designer, and he was like, "Well, if you're going to promote your work, you need to be on the internet."
Right.
And that actually helped me to understand the tools that we are using, the digital world,
Yeah.
and how we can actually attract people into that kind of world, and how we can actually control what people say about us, what they
Hmm.
think about us, by building this brand around us. So I've been an early adopter to using social media and so on. And times I've hated it. I really have not liked it, and I have not liked how it has affected me as a person, because it
Hmm.
has caused a lot of stress, because a lot of people think that you are dissing someone if you do not respond immediately, or
Mm.
if you're not there 24/7,
Right.
which is totally crap in
Yeah.
my world, because
Hmm.
I have had to set clear boundaries for myself. Now this is where I actually have conversations with people. This is
Hmm.
where I post stuff, and this is where I again have conversations with people. In order for me to set those boundaries, as you say,
Yeah.
um, and I know that just having the phone in your room can actually make you want to go and check, have I missed something, have
Yeah.
I, what is happening? And it's a weird thing, I think, that it has become so normal, uh, that people live through their phones nowadays. They cannot even um, have a dinner without having the phone there. And I have gone totally opposite, to where I just moved to France, and I have actually set a rule now. If we are having people over, the
Hmm.
there won't be any phones. I will put them in the box for them.
Phone jail.
Yeah, because I miss when we actually had real honest conversations without Google,
Yeah.
or without showing these clips, or without all of these things.
Hmm.
Um, and I notice how uncomfortable some people are with just having a normal conversation nowadays. That the phone has become this um, security thing, uh, and yeah, that's where I don't know where I am at this very moment.
Well, yeah, I totally agree with you. So whenever we had like get-togethers with our friends, our cousins and nieces and nephews, of course, the
Mhm.
younger generation, they're just always just kind of on their phone.
Yeah,
So we would do the same thing. We would anybody caught with their phone would end up in phone jail. So we just
yeah,
take
yeah.
the phone because we don't get to spend a ton of time with each other, and so being able to just be present and
Mhm.
have a face-to-face conversation was something that was really important.
Yeah.
Another thing is I take my family out to dinner or lunch or something out to eat
Mhm.
weeks ago, and I just saw these two guys that were sitting across from each other. And I don't think they were just like this whole time. They had the phone
Yeah,
here and they were just eating. And I don't think they
yeah.
they looked at each other or talked, said a single word to each other. So it's like you might as well just go out and eat by yourself. Like
But
why are you
yeah,
just
yeah.
why are you
Or why
yeah
do you even go out? I
yeah
mean, you could just bring it home with you and sit by the computer.
yeah
Um,
exactly.
and I think this is like one of the things
Hmm.
that is causing a lot of stress,
Yeah.
because our brains are in overload
Hmm.
24/7, that we're like getting all of these clips that are really, really short and intense.
Yeah.
And we have to start to think about what actually happens to our memories when we are feeding ourselves with it all the time,
Yeah.
and that is causing a lot of stress within our bodies.
Yeah.
um, and I think it's important to have some time where we are not feeding that,
Hmm.
because there is this stress reaction happening in our bodies 24/7 if we're just consuming, consuming, consuming.
Yeah, that is something. I mean, not specifically social media, but just like last night, I was supposed to sleep at a certain time, but instead I was on like working and then my brain was like constantly churning and then having to
Hmm.
go from that directly to sleep, it just takes a lot of time to wind down and kind of shut the
Yeah,
brain off.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I completely understand that. So how are you, I guess, how are you using, so you're using social media as like a marketing tool.
Yeah.
What types of strategies are, well, first of all, are you using Facebook, Instagram, are you using all of it or how? How are
So
you? Yeah, what tools are you
nowadays,
using?
so I have a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I see that as marketing tool as well.
Mm-hmm.
I use Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I am on Facebook, but I don't see it as uh, a marketing tool per se because I know that my audience is not using that. But I actually go in and research a lot of stuff in different Facebook groups to actually see what people are struggling with and what are their problems and so on. So I'm
Yeah.
using Facebook, but I'm not marketing myself there. And I'm using Pinterest as well
Okay.
to drive traffic both to my website and to the podcast,
Interesting.
because that is actually making my website rank higher on Google.
Just
And
because
that
it's
is,
linked to Pinterest?
yeah. So for every post that I create on Pinterest, there is a
Mm-hmm.
unique link going back to my website to a certain page. And for every backlink that you have to your website, it's being pushed up higher and higher as more relevance.
I
So if you
see.
have the time or if you can have a VA do
Mm-hmm.
this, create like 10, 15 different images regarding a podcast episode
Mm-hmm.
to get people to actually want to read more or and so on. And then you can have 15 different links from different images. And that will rank it higher and more likely someone will see it. Because today we are caught up in so many people are creating so much things that
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
don't forget your website. um,
So you're saying that let's just say for this episode that's gonna
mhm,
go live, I should be going on just if I'm gonna use Pinterest, go on Pinterest, create 15 images, have
yeah,
those linked to this particular episode on
yeah,
YouTube or wherever, and then that
yeah,
will help with the SEO.
yeah.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
old school SEO that people are not talking about that I used to do back in 98.
Well, I
And
mean
it
it.
still works
Mhm.
creating links, and Pinterest is great for doing that.
Okay, that's great to know because I
Mm.
mean Pinterest to me I was introduced to Pinterest from my wife and she is just always sending me recipes or this is
Yeah.
like cool with crafts and stuff.
Yeah.
So interesting. Okay. Yeah, because that's one of the biggest things that I struggle with right now. So I started a podcast, right, as just another market. Well, I always like podcasting and talk radio.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, but then, I kind of viewed podcasting as like another marketing tool, and then Instagram and LinkedIn,
Yeah.
Facebook, and now
Yeah.
Reddit
Yeah.
surprisingly, right? So for someone like me who I have no I don't know much about social media other than you post and people either like your stuff or they comment or they just ignore it.
Yeah.
So would you suggest doing one platform or just take one piece of content and post it on many platforms?
Um, my recommendation is to do one type of content
Hmm.
and create tiny variations of that
Okay.
fits to each and every platform. So right now, reels are really, really high ranking on
Hmm.
Instagram. If you're
Yeah.
using TikTok, then you can do the same video,
Yeah.
but you have to be mindful that, let's say that you create a reel inside of TikTok. If you download that and then upload it on Instagram, Instagram will feel that it's created in another, like on TikTok, then
Yeah.
it's not being ranked the same way.
Mm.
Uh, so what I do is every month I have an idea of what it is that I want to put out through my podcasts and what I
Yeah.
want to talk about on social media. So
Hmm.
I plan out 30 days of content.
Yeah.
And then I look at, okay, what variation can I use to talk about this on Instagram? How can I talk about this on Pinterest? Should I do anything in depth on the podcast and work my way through there?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been on TikTok that much, and it's because uh, I'm originally from Sweden. I live in the south of France at this very moment, but my main audience is in America. And I have to have a phone that is from America to reach the American audience.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't done TikTok, and now I was thinking about doing that, but now I know it's getting banned. So now it's too late in America. So
Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of people are afraid. I mean, I'm one of them, and I wouldn't say I'm super informed, but for me, TikTok is the service agreement where I've heard that it can access everything on the network that your
mm,
phone is connected to. So that's why I think there's a lot of, well, at least for me, there's a lot of fear for TikTok. But
yeah.
so I mainly focus on Facebook, Instagram, right? And now
And
YouTube and Spotify. Yeah.
yeah. And the real question for you to really ask yourself is,
Hmm.
where are people hanging out?
Yeah.
What platforms are they using? And that is the main thing that should drive where you're actually at. And I know it can be super overwhelming to create new content
Yeah.
every day.
Hmm.
Um, if you look at what did you do 6 months ago, if maybe you can take one of those, the
Yeah.
same text, use another video or use another image, and repurpose everything. Um, and the thing is, people won't remember, and no
Hmm.
one will scroll and go and check. Did he post that 6 months ago or 2 months
Yeah.
ago? No.
Yeah.
Uh, and we have to be smart.
Hmm.
And for me, planning things out and then batching what I'm recording. So maybe I'm taking one afternoon, going out doing tiny video snippets
Hmm.
when it's beautiful weather.
Yeah.
And then I know, okay, I have video snippets that I can use for like the next 90 days. Then I
Yeah.
don't have to get ready, feel amazing, looking good every day that I actually go out. I have that content, and then I
Hmm.
can schedule it out. And that for me relieves stress
Hmm.
around social media. Because if I am in the morning just sitting there going, oh, I have to post something today,
Yeah.
then I go blank. I
Hmm.
need to have my own plan. Otherwise, it won't happen. And I think a lot of other people are the same way as well.
Yeah. I mean, I for sure. And not only that, there's this huge fear, and I still have it, of just taking your face and recording a video of you talking about whatever you want to
Yeah,
talk about. Like,
yeah.
how do you get over that?
Well, I can say, I don't remember how long ago this was, maybe 12 years ago.
Hmm.
Um, I was, uh, I knew if I started to promote some of the products that I was selling in an e-commerce store,
Hmm.
uh, it will sell more. And I knew I had to be on video, uh, and I was scared to death, like literally scared to death. And I
Hmm.
cried for half an hour before
Uh-huh.
hitting record, wiping the eyes, putting
Yeah.
some more makeup on.
Uh-huh.
And in the end of that video, you can actually see me going like, bye. uh, but what I realized that the more I was showing up
Hmm.
and the more I was doing it, less and less scary it became.
Hmm.
And then after like 6 months, people started to come to me and saying like what an impact the videos have actually had on them, and how generous they felt for me helping them with their questions about hair and so on. That it didn't matter if my shipping was more expensive than other companies. They wanted to buy the product from me because they wanted to support me.
Mm.
So the more that grew for me,
Yeah.
the less fear. And you can, if you have a fear of showing up on camera, um, usually it's around being judged.
Yeah.
And the real question there is going back to maybe other experiences you've had in life that actually has caused this fear.
Mm.
Uh, and the more you can actually give yourself a tap on the shoulder saying like, hey, that won't happen again. If someone has laughed at you in school, or you were the last one picked when you were playing soccer, in like all of these things that have happened to us growing
Yeah.
up have actually caused us to feel certain ways uh, around all of this, and it's actually still having an imprint if you are going left or right, or you're doing this or that.
It's funny that you say that because I have a story that a lot of my childhood friends they know. It's the school bus. I won't tell it here because it wasn't it, but I can see how something like that would impact you in a negative way
Yeah.
because I mean I guess I can tell it. So I was sitting out in front
Yeah,
of my
sure.
I was sitting out in front of the school. I was in I think middle school or high school, and then I was sitting there. So across the street we have this McDonald's that only the cool kids would go to after school. But my group of
Yeah.
friends, the three of us or the four of us, went over there, and we were just hanging out outside the McDonald's. And this high school kid was like smoking a cigarette, and then he flung the cigarette at me. And I was like, okay, well, this is not great. I don't enjoy this, but I'll get over it. So we ended up walking back to the school, waiting for the after school buses to come by. And I was
Yeah.
just sitting there, just getting over it, finally feeling better about myself. And then I hear this bus window come down. I look over and I'm thinking, oh, someone is going to say hi to me, like a friend of mine that and I was going to feel really popular because I was with my only other three friends, right? And this
Yeah.
kid sticks his head out. He looks at me square in the eye and says, "You one ugly mother effer." And then he
Oh,
closes the window. And I'm like, I sit there and I think I probably stew over it for a week or two, but something like that, I think really has a negative impact on you
of
as an
course.
individual.
Yeah. And if that is imprinted in you,
Yeah.
maybe that is the same feeling coming up every time you are afraid of actually speaking up or showing off. Maybe we even have that idea in our heads that that particular person will start to bully me again.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and it's funny because it doesn't matter if you do stuff or if you don't do stuff, people will judge you anyway.
Yeah.
So for me, I have understood that I don't really care what people think about me anymore because people always have this idea of who I am or what I do.
Mhm.
Um, and if they don't like me, I don't really care. And it's a nice feeling to get to that point,
Mhm.
but it has taken a lot of inner work and a lot of um, just be okay with who I am today.
Yeah, it's surprising that when you go on this journey of becoming an entrepreneur or whatever it is that you want to call yourself, there's a lot of
Yeah,
like baggage that you have to clear out and
yeah,
personal issues that have to fix or address, I guess is the
yeah,
better word.
yeah.
Um, so you
And
said, mhm, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna ask you, how long did it take for you to get traction where you have all this pouring in of support?
From like starting to post the videos, you mean? And
Yeah,
then
so
actually, yeah.
yeah.
Well, the strange thing when it comes to when you're an entrepreneur,
Hmm.
you actually expect your friends and family members
Hmm.
to maybe send you some love when you're posting stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's not going to happen.
Hmm.
And I think sometimes you maybe need to block off some family members and some friends if they are judgmental towards you, because you don't need their crap.
Hmm.
Because what I have noticed is the more um, love I get from my fans, the more irritated some family members or some friends become,
Hmm.
because they are afraid that I will leave them. They are afraid that she's becoming something, she's
Hmm.
growing out of us. And I think that is the same way when you're starting a company or etc etc. And if you start to make money, then people will also get super scared, because who, like, will you still want to go out with them? Do you still
Hmm.
want to hang, like, or are you going to exchange them to something new?
Right.
uh but for me, actually blocking some people have been better for my mental health, because they're not my audience, so they will never understand what it is
Hmm.
that I do. And I
Yeah.
can say my mother, me speaking on video like this in a podcast or whatever, she equals that as if I'm a porno model.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Because I'm too much. Because I'm a very introverted person,
Hmm.
but when it's something I'm passionate about, I can and I love to help people. I love to help transform people from the inside and out. But she doesn't see that version of me. So I've had to remove people from seeing what it is that I'm doing, just to take care of myself. And then I I think it just took like 2 or 3 months until when I started working on YouTube, to actually reach people that really wanted to hear the things that I had to say. So it went really, really fast.
Hmm.
Um, and I always try to focus on, if I can help one person, that is amazing. And focus on that. And I think being an entrepreneur, it has its ups and downs, but we cannot give up. We have to remember that creating something new takes time.
Hmm.
So don't think that you will create this amazing transformation within 1 hour for posting something. It's all about um, showing up uh, every day, and showing up for yourself. And if you are like 100% committed, then you will start to see the ripple effect within time. And I cannot say nowadays what time frame it is, because I've been into the game for so long that it's very different with different platforms and so on.
Right. Yeah, I mean, with the content I put out, it's not like funny or entertaining, it's just like
No,
educational. So then
yeah,
I don't know how to, it's hard for something educational to go viral, I think.
yeah, yeah. But it's not the right, like, you have to focus on that the right people
Hmm.
will find this. The right people that are meant to hear this will come. And if it's tomorrow, awesome. That's wonderful. If it is a year from now, great. And also, people are in different state of mind. So maybe someone is going back like from 2 years from now that really needs to hear what the conversation that we're having today. It's all about being at the right time at the right moment for people.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, 100%. I think when I first got started into real estate, there's this old video. I think by the time I got into it, it was 4 or 5 years old, but it
Yeah,
helped me get to that next step of learning how to underwrite a property, and analyze whether this investment would be good or not.
yeah,
So just putting it out there into the ether, I think forever, right? And when it gets
yeah,
to you, is it's the right time.
yeah.
Um, so I mean, I've been doing this for since July, and it's
Hmm.
it's a ton of work. It's very time consuming.
Yeah.
How do you manage all of that plus your your business?
So you mean managing social media or
Yeah.
yeah.
Social media.
So what I do is I have um, first I plan out my content for the month,
Hmm.
and then I check, okay, what type of videos and so on do I need to record? Is
Hmm.
it videos where I actually sit in front of camera talking, or is it reels and so on? And then when I made the plan, it's so much easier to actually know, okay, if I go to this place and I record these videos, if I do that and I record these videos, you're more sufficient when you're actually recording, because then you're in that mental state of now I'm talking into camera, or
Hmm.
now I'm doing things, um, walking down the street, recording myself, or whatever it is that you're doing.
Hmm.
And I have that planned out. So I just do and have a checklist, because when I follow the checklist, I know, okay, I'm done, I'm done, I'm done.
Hmm.
And then every week I actually sit and I do the reels. I do things on Canva, and my husband works with me as well, so we share a little bit of what he does and what I do and so on.
Hmm.
So we create the content and we schedule it out. So I have one day that I do my social media, and then one time in the morning and one time in the evening, I actually have a little 20-minute, 30-minute block in my calendar where I actually am on social media. And then I have a document where I have my rules.
Hmm.
So I have number one, go in and respond to all the DMs. Number
Yeah.
two, then it's like go in and like every comment,
Hmm.
respond to every comment. And then I have like for
Hmm.
each and every platform, I go 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I just follow that, the rules for each and every platform, then I don't get stuck in the scroll because I have a job to do and I
Yeah.
see it as my business thing. Uh, and I do the same thing in the evening. And then I try my best not to go in and check anything else the other times. I don't have any notifications on my phone at all.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
I don't even get a message when someone is texting me. Uh, and I usually have it on silent. And nowadays, like earlier this morning, um, I went out into the woods, cutting some um, things to do. What do you call this? Christmas?
Oh, the reef?
Yeah, Christmas
Yeah.
wreath things.
Uh-huh.
So I just told my husband, I'm going out into the forest. Uh, Maybe be back in half an hour or an hour. And I didn't bring my phone. So I was just walking around, being with myself and
Mhm.
doing that. Because otherwise, it's like if I bring my phone, there is maybe a chance that I check things. And I don't
Yeah.
like that about myself.
Yeah.
And I need that time to refill myself with energy. So I have these, I really try not to have the phone with me at all times, but I'm at that age that I had my first cell phone when I was 16. So I still remember life when we just phoned someone's home,
Yeah.
and we're not living with our cell phones and being able to be communicated
Mhm.
um, every time. Uh, and if someone feel that social media and the internet is super, super stressful, do a challenge and maybe have like a 24-hour digital detox and actually see what happens to you. Because it's very, very interesting to see uh, in what way it actually impacts us. And I did this hardcore. I had 14 days of digital detox the first time I actually did it. And within 24 hours, we were scuba diving in a place where there was no internet and there was no
Mhm.
phone connection. And we actually went to look at books to see what kind of fish we have seen and writing it down in our diving books. So and we noticed that you can live like this as well.
Mhm.
So my for people listening here, for you, become more intentional with how you're using social media and using it as a tool, um, and letting it go, because it's when we let go we make room to not consume a lot of content that the
Mhm.
best ideas come. So when I'm walking in the forest, all of a sudden the solution to the problem that I've been having for a week in the
Yeah.
business comes like that, because I'm not distracting myself, forcing things to come. And it can be as easy as just taking a walk or sitting doing nothing. And that is the thing I think that people have forgotten, that we need space to um, process things until we find the solution for ourselves.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point because when you're talking about creating that Christmas wreath and not bringing your phone with you, if it was me in that situation, I probably would have brought my phone, but I'd probably have like headphones on, listening to
Yeah,
an audiobook or something
yeah.
to try to feed my mind. But
Hmm.
um, sometimes, I think on Friday I was packing up the car, didn't have any electronics with me. I mean, it was only like 30 minutes of packing, but
Yeah,
it was. Um, Phone free, and then the ideas just start coming of what
yeah,
to do and giving
yeah,
yourself a chance to be creative
yeah,
and think without having your mind fed, I think is important for sure.
yeah. And I mean, a lot of people talk about that their best ideas come when they're taking a shower,
Yeah.
because it's your probably cannot stand in the shower being distracted.
But the problem is
um,
they're making these phones waterproof now, so you can bring it in there and listen to stuff while you're showering.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely guilty of that. I should give myself a break.
Well, it's I'm just giving people a chance to, you can look at things from another perspective,
Mhm.
um, and actually also think about, do I really need to be available 24/7?
Yeah.
Do I really need to, like my husband said the other day that one of his friends um, is using both text message, WhatsApp, Facebook, and then Instagram to
Yeah.
respond to the same conversation. And
Uh-huh.
my husband is like, can't you just choose one platform so I can have the full conversation there? It's easier to concentrate.
Yeah.
And that is also one thing that I train my students with. So if I work with people in my membership or one-on-one with people, I let them know, like, hey, I'm here for you. I will respond in the morning and the evening,
Mhm.
but I won't respond to things like that.
Mm,
I will take the time and I will really help you out on these 2 times per day and on one single platform. And I have different rules for in what way that I work with these people. Uh, but people still um, use other platforms, start to send me a DM on Instagram or send me a private message on Facebook, etc., etc. And what I do is I actually have a nice message
mhm,
already written in my phone that I can access on the computer, so I can just copy and paste and say like, "Hey, just a gentle reminder of the rules.
mhm,
I will please post this in wherever it is that you communicate with people, so I can just copy and paste."
mhm.
Um, and then I don't have to go into this irritation because that takes energy from me as well. Um, and in and I have all of these different copy and paste things for a lot of things just to save time. Um, because you asked earlier, like, how do you manage all of this?
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot of uh, creating the same type of content over and over again, using the same templates with
Mhm,
different things. Um, and y- you don't have to be that wide. The easier, the smaller the problem that you're solving for people,
mhm,
the easier will actually be also to talk about that in different versions and actually also sell them the solution.
mhm.
Um, and that's the way to make good money as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the books I recently read was Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. I don't know if you know him or heard of him.
No, I haven't heard of that.
But I think what he does is he has a team of people that runs his social media.
Yeah,
And I think what he'll do is he'll sit there and he'll work on something and then they'll message will come through on like Instagram and they will either know how to respond like Dan
yeah.
or he
Hmm.
will help them respond that way. Do you
Yeah.
have anything like that or you just solely you take care of all of it?
I haven't had it that way. Well, my husband helps me.
Hmm.
Um, so I've actually, I don't remember how many years ago this is, but there was this point in time where I actually received a lot of hate.
Hmm.
And I mean, waking up to 1,000 people commenting horrible things about me.
Right.
And that went on for like 3 or 4 months.
Jeez.
And then I actually had my husband take care of that, deleting and blocking people
Hmm.
because um, seeing that over
Hmm.
and over again can actually have an impact on you mentally.
I
And
bet.
it was causing me to not wanting to show up, etc., etc.
Hmm.
So in that way, I have had him help me out.
Hmm.
Um, but we haven't had a team of people working with us because we're still a small company. Uh, I would consider maybe starting to have help in that way, but we haven't gotten to that point just yet.
Hmm.
Uh, but you can train people to be you. If that is your thing,
Yeah.
go for it. Um, but we have been able to manage different accounts over the years doing this work together. So,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, completely understand. I mean, you can even I just signed up for the paid version of Chat GPT. And so
mhm,
what I did was I just loaded a bunch of my things that I wrote, I loaded it in, and then I just asked it
yeah,
to create something base sound
yeah,
uh to sound like me, which I think is really
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Even
And I
Chat, yeah.
mean, you can if you have a topic let's say that you have the topic of this podcast.
Hmm.
Um, you can actually go in, upload the whole conversation that we've been having,
Hmm.
and say, create 10 different social media posts for Instagram for me using this content.
Yeah.
Drut, then you have something that you can use. You don't have to copy and paste it, add your own tone.
Yeah.
What I do, for instance, I have my podcast.
Hmm.
I have all of the words that I'm saying written out by, I think it's called Otter AI. So you have a transcript of everything that you're saying.
Hmm.
I take that, ask ChatGPT to create a blog post for me.
Yeah. Hmm.
Usually it's really, really perfect. I go in, edit some things, and my husband goes in and we do this together.
Hmm.
Create a blog post about it for the website, because that is also, um, if you have blog posts on your website, it's really good for SEO. So it
Hmm.
actually pushes your website higher up as well. And then you can create all of the Pinterest um, images.
Hmm.
Also ask ChatGPT to what could be um, blog Pinterest information that I should share. I don't know exactly the words that I'm using,
Yeah.
but I play around with this, and it's really helpful to take snippets, and help you out without needing to write everything out. And I'm so, should we say, old in business that I used to do all of this myself. Now I don't have to anymore. So I love having this help of, you can ask ChatGPT to take out like 10 different quotes from this
Hmm.
podcast,
Yeah.
and it will do, and you can create an image, and it can be really helpful for you.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool tool.
And I also use, now I don't remember what it's called. I've used CapCut
Okay.
to
Yeah.
actually take out small videos from a full
Hmm.
podcast as well.
Yeah.
Uh, and I don't think they are just as good. There are other ones that are really, really better,
Hmm.
but I don't remember the names for them at the very moment.
Yeah, so I know that
Uh,
there's like Opus, and then I use this thing called Video, VIDYO, which I
mhm,
just upload the video in and then it'll
yeah,
cut it up for me. And
yeah,
it's not the best, but I do get one or two snippets that actually make sense and are good
mhm,
from each
yeah,
conversation, which is
yeah,
helpful because the amount of time it takes to go and cut something up,
yeah.
it's not something I want to do. So before we go, you had mentioned coaching. Tell us a little bit about your coaching and how you help people leverage social media.
So I am a hairdresser
Mhm.
from the what I've been working with for over 26 years.
Mhm.
But early on, as I was talking about, I had a website, I was using marketing and so on. So nowadays I help coach hairstylists to grow their business. I have a membership where they can get help using social media, and we have a lot of different tiny courses inside of the membership and a community platform where they can get help growing and so on, and we have
Mhm.
coaching calls, and then I work one-on-one with people as well. The plan for this maybe fall is also to host retreats here in Provence, because we just moved here and it's just so amazingly beautiful that I want other people to witness this glory here.
Yeah.
So in that way, we will also work with in-person retreats with people in the future. We'll see how soon we can make that happen.
Okay. I mean, it sounds really cool. Um, so what we'll do is I'll get all the information, the links and everything for you, and we'll put it in the
Yeah,
description of the episode on Spotify as well as on YouTube. So it's very easy
yeah,
for people to click and reach out
yeah,
to you. We'll also want to make sure we include your podcast on there as well so people can go
yeah,
and listen to that.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, Anne Marie, I really appreciate you coming on. Yeah, thank you again for sharing your story.
yeah, yeah. Thank you for having me. It's been really fun.
Hey, take care.